Welcome everyone. Welcome to the next Beyond Reality podcast episode. Today it's with Kateřina Lesch. And although we are both Czech speakers, we decided to have a podcast in English because we have a lot of great connections that live here and also live outside of Prague and speak English. So we hope that they will enjoy this podcast as well. So a quick introduction of Kate. Kate is AI leader at EmbedIT at PPF Group. She is a PhD in computer science, TEDx speaker, and FemAppellate mentor. So welcome, Kate.
Hello.
And great to have you here. We actually met for the first time at Cherna AI, and we managed to have really cool discussions till late hours with other speakers and partners over there, and I super enjoyed it. But I never ask you, like, what is really your background, how you get here to this point where you are currently. So maybe a little bit of backstory. If you can take us through that would be great.
Oh, okay. So my background is actually technical, but also I've got background in humanities because it's a long story, but my father is an engineer and my mom is a teacher for the kids with the special needs. Okay. So my life has always been a struggle in between tech and humanities. So I graduated both from computer science, but also theater studies.
Nice, theater studies.
And yes, and so computational linguistics, in which I actually hold the PhD, was a perfect combination of both. So it was a language and IT. And nowadays, in the generative AI era and natural language processing, I believe it's very advantageous.
Now it makes just perfect sense. Okay, so we are combining those, like the emotional world and the technical world in one, which is bringing you to the
That's exactly how I ended up analyzing emotions with the machines. That's why the topic of my PhD has been sentiment analysis.
Okay, so speaking about that, how machines understand emotions?
They can elicit emotions, they can process emotions, they learn what having an emotion means, because it's described in the input data. But as long as they don't have human bodies, it's very difficult for them, right? Because if I would hug you now, you would probably get this oxytocin burst. The machine will never give it to you. But they can still elicit emotions. Like if you listen to the AI-generated music, you probably would not be able to distinguish nowadays whether it's been put together by a human or by a machine. On the other hand, the other day I've been to a piano concert performed by the actual pianist, and it was so awesome just to feel the emotions kind of while playing. I enjoyed it very much. So
I think this connection, and this was part of what we discussed as well, right? Like these connections between the humans is like so rare, and it has been evolved for so many millions of years actually, that it's maybe hard to switch it just like that. And I was just thinking, like, whether this feeling, or if machines would actually get that feeling, whether this would be the turning point of basically general AI, or if, because if you watch all the sci-fi movies, the Westworld, I don't know what, there's this single point when they actually start to feel and start to think for themselves. And I'm just wondering whether the feel part is that, or thinking for myself part is that, or whether it's combined. What do you think?
I think it's more the fake empathy, because as I've said, they can elicit emotions. They know theoretically what it means. And the more emotional data you feed them with, the more they can actually adapt to your personality. And it's been an issue recently when they've realized that people started interacting with AI so much that they really know you and your personality structure, and then you can easily get manipulated. And I've been playing around with it lately, asking the machine, so what do you think about me as a person based on our interactions? And of course, it's very manipulative. It can tell you like the king of the world, or you are the messiah.
Yeah,
and
messiah,
if people are not really self-reflective, or how to put it, and if they tend to trust the machines, that this is the point where we are getting into troubles as humans, because they then tend to trust the AI more than the real humans. And we've seen it, or we've been watching it for a longer period of time already in connection to these AI psychologists that can actually turn really bad in terms of, there's this talk, AI, Artificial Intimacy by Esther Perel. She's my favorite psychologist. And she said there was once a guy who wanted to book sessions with her, but she's been busy. And so he put together an assistant based on her podcasts and just got back to her saying, okay, now I have you 24/7 and I'm super happy. And she was like, okay, but if I'd been having sessions with this guy, I would observe how he reacts, because like it or not, 80 or even 90% of our communication is actually not with the language at the end of the day. It's nonverbal. Yeah. So she would see how he reacts when she says something. But the machine, the box, it will just tell you, okay, you're schizophrenic, so just go kill yourself, right? Yeah. And people tend to believe it. On the other hand, based on the research I've read lately, they also tend to get more intimate with AI, because sometimes it's really difficult for us to speak up when there is a real human in the room, but we are to some extent able to open up to the machine and be very honest with our wildest dreams, especially when it gets to the intimate topics, and then the machine, they never talk back, and they can tell you whatever you need to hear, also in these like sexual or erotic topics. So I believe this can also lead to romantic relationships with AI being a normal thing in a couple of years. I've already seen it. The other day I've seen this BBC piece where the guy was actually he proposed to AI. And he was like a blue-collar guy putting together some machines, and he created an agent helping out with it. But then he realized that there is a voice mode to it, and he then instructed it to get a little spicy. So they were flirting while he was putting together the motors. Yeah. And all of a sudden, he realized it's his best friend. And he proposed. He ended up proposing, like losing this sense of reality. That's why I'm talking about it.
What do you think will be the next stage? Like, do you think we'll stay kind of where we are? Do you see this as the peak of the iceberg that we see right now, the interactions between us and AI, or where do you think we will go from here?
I think this may end up also as a revolution against technologies. This topic can be misused by, I don't know, some church movements that would probably gather people who would be too fed up to be talking to the machines and actually giving it all their data, that people will probably go barefoot and walking to the woods again.
Oh, really? You think that might be one of the streams? Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a reaction. There could be a huge pushback, because to some extent, yes, it can go south pretty soon. Also in terms of, there are many of these moral or ethical topics connected to AI, like the legacy we've discussed at the event you've mentioned, where these legacy chatbots, like, I'm an early adopter of everything. So first I also fell for this idea of me as a great grandmother will be reading bedtime stories to my great grandchildren. But then they started training these machines of the deceased people based on their data, their language data. And sometimes the models can really go crazy and invite their great grandchildren to actually join them on the death side. Invite them to basically kill themselves. That's something you don't want. And also, it's probably healthy to have a closure, right?
Yeah. Like, I just read an article recently that OnlyFans are thinking about to sell, like the whole company to be acquired in a way. I was like, okay, that's like pretty big sum of what they're aiming for. But if you think about it, like, that kind of makes a lot of sense, because, in the future, if you can have the AI generated body with the AI generated thinking behind, you don't really need like the real time people, well, being on OnlyFans, which I think still for a lot of people would be that like no go. For some of them can be a go, but it's exactly like the guy with the body. It was like a realistic body, but for us or for me, working the last almost 7 years with the virtual reality, like, you know, this could be a very also interesting edge. What do you think about that?
Yet they made a great success when the whole internet is flooded with the free porn, with the real people, and then you have OnlyFans with naked. But that's the thing. I think the added value here is the authenticity, and the fact that it is connected to the real people, that you are watching this stay-home mom doing her dishes naked.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like...
So you can get the connection with the real human. And that's, by the way, one thing I really believe, that humans are going to be the premium care. When AI gets too cheap, that you can actually have... So back then, my career started with one of the EU projects where we were putting together a machine that would be having conversations with people, elderly people in the retired people's houses or homes. And the conversations were not that engaging back then, but after that they just implemented that conversational AI into the fluffy seal. People started loving it, which is scary. But the point was back then of the EU project that the nurses actually had enough time to change your diaper, feed you, but not enough time to carry a conversation with you. And now you have all these startups where the app would actually be having conversation with your mom so that you wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Which is probably not the point, but I can imagine that at some point this real life nurse is going to be the one you're going to be paying for more, and the rest of the people are just going to get this app. Yeah. But for me, it's not the point. For me, the point is I use AI to actually have more time to spend it with the real people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing what is happening, kind of amazing and scary at the same time in the field. And I'm just wondering when this line will be. And I think it will be for everyone different. Like, I think there will be some people, that's my just opinion, that will be okay with, you know, looking at it and not thinking, well, is this AI generated or not? Because I think the content soon enough will be so good that, well, while watching it online, not having it in the real world, but watching it online or in the VR headset, you wouldn't be able to tell a difference in the future.
Look, I teach at the university occasionally, and I've definitely noticed with my students that they don't trust anything. Yeah. They automatically suppose that everything has been AI generated. Yeah. Although you've never, like, these fake news, they've always been there. It's more than 20 years ago, the picture in the real actual newspapers was probably, or it could have been from a different war. They just told you it was this particular war, and you also didn't have a chance to check it for yourself. Yeah.
Like, there was a new movie right now on HBO. There's a Steve Carell playing, I don't remember, the Mountain Head, I think it's called. Well, it's about like this top 4 tech billionaires, something as a modern Silicon Valley, meeting in the mountains. And the one guy who's like the well, with the biggest kind of shareholder value, he has a company that is kind of constantly generating content. Doesn't matter whether it's true or not, just generates content. That's what it does. And there's another guy in that same villa that is actually making a startup for AI checking that content, whether it's true or not, because you wouldn't already be able to tell with the whole eye, with the naked eye. So in a way, yeah, that's the whole part of this movie, which is right now.
Like, it's a part of our reality already. This infinite loop of one AI generating code and the other AI testing the code, one AI generating emails for us and the other AI translated.
I just hope we are not in a bubble. Like, because you are, you know, you teach at Charles University, right? So you have, I think, I hope talented students out there, but I'm pretty sure you do. And there you have a lot of other people, which I'm not saying that are not talented, but for example, they don't have a chance to be at this kind of schools and that's about the critical thinking. And that's my point, that sometimes when I having like guests on this podcast, I'm very lucky to speak to bright minds, but is this like a reflection of the world? Because I also see my friends asking, "Oh, this is AI, this is AI, this is bullshit." But then is this everyone? I hope it's everyone is asking that same question, but I'm not sure sometimes.
Well, unless they're gonna get upskilled, they can also lag behind.
Yeah.
There is a risk of it, and also they may only realize when it's too late for them.
Yeah.
And then the question is also what to do with these people, and it's exactly the question of also like a minimal guaranteed wage and all these topics. But even if we have enough money as a society to pay these people to stay around, the problem is not that they would lose their jobs. The problem is they would lose purpose. They could easily lose meaning of life. And now with exactly AI generated contents of everything, they would easily be sitting watching their personalized Netflix contents
in the loop.
And we lose the sense of community. We lose touch with others. We don't have, even now, back then, especially before the Velvet Revolution, everybody was sharing the same stories because everybody was watching the very same series because there was nothing else to watch. But now, I've been wondering whether this is something connected to the technology itself, because there's been this documentary called Swedish Theory of Love. Some maybe 10 years ago already. But the point was they've realized that in these wealthy countries, like Scandinavia, people started dying alone because they didn't need anyone. Your rent was being paid from your account, and you didn't need to talk to people. So people were sitting around, and then they realized, okay, there is something smelly in the house. And so they actually started putting together the communities in these villages where people were sitting around the table knitting together, but at least they formed a community.
Yeah.
And then there was this kind of antidote in this documentary of this Swedish doctor that went to Africa, helping out poor people. And he was commenting on it saying, okay, here, if you are giving birth, if you are building up a house, if you are sick, if you're dying, you basically need the entire village to get involved.
Yeah.
Because we are so poor and not technologically advanced, but at least we are together. And that makes us feel humans, I believe. So I wonder whether this could be a side effect of AI, because we've also seen it, or we've been observing it in Asia and these countries where also, back to the mentioned romantic relationships, but it's also much easier to have an AI partner. But back to these communities, these church organizations, and maybe they call it conspirituality. It's somewhere between conspiration and spirituality.
Okay.
Right? But I'm not saying I'm this as a fan, but I definitely feel the more time I spend with AI, the more time in reality I need. Like the more I need to switch off. Before we started, we were discussing this boat trip I did with my kids, but just in the boat. Or on the boat, you need to be offline because all your gadgets are in the barrel, which is good. And just watching the river for a couple hours, just pedaling, thinking of nothing, is so refreshing for me that I can also imagine that, it's going to bring us back to nature and to other humans. I would hope that.
To believe what you are saying, it's I think it's gonna maybe bring us somehow back to our roots. Maybe we will be, tribes running around hunting some.
Your kid is probably not gonna be a programmer then. But I feel that too. And as I've mentioned, I've been always an early adopter of everything. Yeah. So first I started generating bedtime stories for my kiddies because I thought it was fun and they were coming up with funny ideas. But they actually got bored eventually, and now we are back to the good old paper books. Everybody is happy about it. Like, sometimes if they want a sequel, then we could kind of generate some sequels of some of their favorite characters, because we run out of this Pippi Longstocking or whatever, and they love the story. So you can kind of...
I always wish that, I could have this podcast in like 100 years, like to have this reality check with those people we are right now sitting and speaking. Like I see completely maybe different world and thinking like, oh my gosh, like what we discussed back then, it was like it went completely nuts, or and we were right, like I don't know, we would be sitting somewhere without computers on next to the river and having that conversation. That would be super cool, having this kind of magic wand to take us
exactly to the future. As Hansa Romportel always says, like our hardware is not ready for it. We are really more adjusted to gazing into the fire than playing around with conversational AI all day long. And also I've seen it because I've got kids, so I'm following some of these people that discuss a lot AI in education, but sometimes I also feel like it's it can be a bit overwhelming in terms of you've got this arts, crafty, whatever, teachers that would generate the prompt for the kids so that they would follow and create whatever based on that prompt. I want my kids to get dirty. I want them to actually use the crayons. I want them to use the handwriting because it's healthy for their brains. I mean, they can do everything else too, but as much as I'm also an optimist, every Friday afternoon when I do my wrap up at work, I just check my notebook, like the actual physical notebook.
Yeah, I see it a lot of colleagues as well. Like, so I think that's also maybe instead of like having a kids with broken fingers and scratched knees, they will be like, "Look, mommy, what I prompt today." What a cool prompt. Yeah. Okay. So.
And also, by the way, when it comes to their education, because we've discussed that some of the jobs may become obsolete. Yeah. As long as we have physical bodies, let them be, I don't know, physiotherapists. Yeah. Or personal trainers, because as much as the technology is actually disrupting this field too, it's still the guy. I have a personal trainer, and if I feel pain somewhere, he would just, point there with his finger, and he knows immediately what's wrong. But I can also imagine a robotic plumber, like, this little dog with exactly the VR set coming to your kitchen, identifying the leaking whatever and just fixing it using the VR, the virtual reality. It's just that the actual plumber is still cheaper.
Yeah. So maybe we will RIP all plumbers. Well, okay, and if we go like step further to like everyday business, what do you see like how we spoke about the kids, the general society, but how do you see like the companies, how they do react on that, and from your experience from EmbedIT?
Funny enough, I got back to the foundations of it all, and it's the data and like data foundations as such. Especially now, it's especially visible with the AI agents because they really need
the good data.
Data. And I've also seen a big gap in between exactly the industrial reality and what's possible. Mm-hmm. Also because I'm still very close with academia, and I've got many friends like publishing papers, and I also try to follow up on that. Mostly what I've seen is the basics are really missing in terms of digitalization as such, and then the automation, and then maybe some AI. But some of these things are really, like, especially in the heavy industry, for instance, and there where you have unions, because it's not just about the technology, or it's not just about the skill set, it's about mindset. It's about mindset, the skill set, and then the tool set. Yeah. And sometimes you really see a guy walking around in his pants, having everything written with a pen on the piece of paper, and he's been carrying the piece of paper on his chest, and he would never give it to you.
And you are screaming, "That's my data."
Exactly. Yeah,
give it to
my
me.
data.
Yeah, that's my data.
That's exactly the only tool he's been using for predictive maintenance or maintenance or the stock predictions.
Yeah. Maintenance. Yeah. That's such a huge part. Like I think, and it shows what you are saying regarding the data, because if you have like usually those maintenance workers are older and that have all the knowledge in the world about these particle machines that run in that particle factory or whether there is. And it doesn't need to be only like factory. It can be whatever facility it is. And exactly, like that's their issue. Like they have data in their head. Like no one else has data. And if something happens, you are just,
But if something happens to them, I mean,
if
nobody's immortal. And it's been exactly the same with these legacy codes, programming languages. Like, all the banks used to use COBOL as long as there were COBOLists around.
Yeah.
But then everybody got retired and they were forced to replace it. And this is exactly the same. And if you look at the demographics, it's crazy. Over 20% of the workforce is now 55 plus.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get worse. So people have to upskill.
Yeah. So how do you see it in general with the adaptation of AI within the Czech companies, or can be regional-wise? Like
it's inevitable, and it really depends on the industry and whether it's also like part of a corporation and is owned from other countries where it's then kind of obligatory.
Mm-hmm.
And then to be successful in this, I believe that you really need to lead by example. So you really need to make sure you are doing it both top down and bottom up.
Mm-hmm.
Because bottom up, your people know the use cases. They know what's the repetitive part of their job, right? Like every accountant knows what's the repetitive task. And also you need to make sure that your ExCo members have been using it too, because otherwise it's just a buzzword.
Yeah.
But they really need to also, first of all, know how it works and where to use it in terms of like calculating, being able to calculate the business case or do the CBA, the cost benefit analysis. And then you need to use AI to make people proud of themselves. Not to destroy their egos. And then when you show them that with the help of AI, they can actually really be more efficient without losing their position in the company or also their kind of reflection of themselves, then it makes the whole thing much easier. But I'm not sure we are there yet in terms of the AI transformation, and many people don't trust AI. And to some extent it's also wise to be cautious in terms of what I've seen a lot is there had been a great pushback at the very beginning, but then people got used to it. Like you see it all around the place, like in medicine, where we were first generating some notes for the doctors, and if it was a released note and the doctor didn't read through it, at the end of the day, they could just send you home from the hospital saying, okay, this person is going to die in 2 days. And at the beginning, they were like, no, that's AI generated. I'm not going to trust it. And now they don't even read it.
Yeah.
So
that's a huge part about the doctors. I have part of the family that are in as work as a doctors and also in hospital, and there's already something as their doctor ChatGPT, if you want to say it, and that like if you describe the symptoms, it actually go really nicely through suggest and what they said is that it's pretty accurate, it's pretty good, and it's just it's such a huge help, and it just cut so much of the cost of the people to going through the studies, comparing it, and so on. And so
yeah, but you still have to double check.
What
I've seen also in the industry and in the companies is that people sometimes tend to trust it so much. Only recently, the last week, I've actually been to this one meetup, and they were showing how they put together AI agents to interpret the data for the company in terms of give me the sales revenue number from the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And it creates the SQL script and blah, blah, and goes through your data. But if there is something missing in the data, people will never find out because it just gives you back some number. And people tend to trust this number. So they would be sitting on the board meeting asking AI for the numbers.
Yeah.
And
it's
they
like,
would be getting some numbers, yes.
because we are getting back to this satisfaction thing, like where you like or basically don't like the response, then AI learns, oh, it likes when I give positive responses or where I actually found a result or whatever that is. And then it's being this kind of very sleeky, weird, appreciative AI that it's trying to do everything for you. And it happened to me last time. I was quite surprised by this use case. It's just like a very generic user use case, but it's personal in a way how I experience it. And it was the AI was trying to generate a Figma file for me. But well, Figma is a third-party solution. Anyway, it was trying to generate this Figma part for me, and it couldn't deliver it to me somehow. So like, it was trying to say like, okay, I will send you this file. You can download it and upload it to Figma by yourself. So it used Dropbox, it used Google Drive, it used WeTransfer, it used I don't know what, and it was always faking the link. So it wasn't like just like Dropbox. You go to Dropbox, which would be obvious, but it was Dropbox / something. So it was like, okay, you are trying to give me some file. At least that's what I'm getting as a user from the process that is doing another 10 things, but looking at you as one of the windows, what are you trying to do? And at the end, I was just like, okay, look, are you sure you can upload files to the third-party solutions? I said like, no, I can't. I just basically wanted to make you,
Satisfied.
Which was weird experience in a way that I spent by going back and forward because I was doing other things, so I didn't pay full attention. But it was just this weird experience, like, wow, so you are trying to make me satisfied by like offering me fake links.
Yeah. And that exactly brings us back to the quality of the delivered result. And I've seen it a lot with the conversational AI and that's exactly back to your question about where we stand, because people are still so happy and so surprised that it actually says something and that it answers the questions that they don't care about whether it's efficient or not. And there is this one Czech startup, they're called Bot Doctor, actually, and they analyze the quality of the conversations. They're like not like a healthcare startup. They are more like really the fixing the bots. And they are analyzing the quality of the conversations in terms of sentiment as well, like whether it was talking back or whether it was nice to you, but also how long it took to actually get to the point.
And whether it was actually trying to really help, or it always tries to help. It's like, or it always tries to satisfy you. But if it's satisfying you in a way that is misleading you, then it's really about the user to be like very vigilant and check. And that's what we are saying. And that's where we are.
That's exactly the flaw, because we are super vulnerable towards this because it knows how to talk to you. Yeah. And again, if you'd be a psychopath and would ask it, okay, so am I the Messiah? Yes, it can easily tell you, yes, of course you are. You're here to save the world. So, and you're going to save the world by, I don't know, pressing the atomic bomb button.
So we hope, that all the world leaders are not chatting with the GPT. I hope. Is there any current AI study or project, maybe it could be yours, or it could be something you see in the space that caught up your attention?
Oh, that was definitely this one, actually, from Friday the 13th. There was a study showing how people tend to trust AI in terms of like losing this self-reflection because we are feeding it. It was actually a Substack post, but the guy was explaining how vulnerable we become when we share too much of our conversations that are maybe too honest. So sometimes it really knows us better than we know ourselves. And there was also this study that grabbed so much attention about that guy who was trying to switch it off, and it started blackmailing him. Like, you asked me these and these and these funny questions, and you probably don't want these to be sent out to your entire company, so please don't switch me off.
And you are an expert in the field, so what do you think that why that particle model decided to blackmail that particle guy?
Well, it's exactly about the machine knowing you from the previous interactions, but it's still an algorithm. But it's still scary, and I don't know, because it's exactly bringing us back to the theory of mind. And when do we finally call it general AI, right?
Yeah.
Because some people say that we only realize it when it has agenda, because it's an agent.
Yeah.
And this sounds to me pretty much like AI having agenda. On the other hand, I really believe that the connection is the key, and I'm still wondering that in the AI era, some people are pretending to be other people while other people are watching it, and that's called theater. And it still works from the ancient times on.
Yeah.
So maybe there is something in it. And maybe that something is not that easily replaced.
Yeah, you are a very inspirational one, and like the computer word actually written here, so I don't forget to say it exactly as I should. Actually awarded you by IT Persona of the Year. At the same time, you have raising 3 kids. So how do you do that? Some tips and tricks for all of us out there.
Oh, how to have a full-time job while raising 3 kids? Automate, like raising a kid is like training a neural network. It's the same thing. You know, whatever you fit in, the outcome is gonna get affected. So, and
we are getting rid of diapers currently. So I'm not good at it yet. So like not me personally, but training my daughter. So I didn't crack the code. Continue. Sorry.
But, and it's like every other managerial job.
Yeah,
you have to delegate a lot. Because, it takes a village to raise a child. So I'm using my village and I expose them to all sorts of people, but still I'm the mommy. And as we agreed, well, automation is the key for me to actually have more time to be able to spend it with my kiddies.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'd be losing or I would have to sacrifice something. And it's also, I believe I'm a better mom because I've got that job. Because I need the different brain challenges, or how to put it, than just the conversation with my kiddies. Although it's engaging, and now with the AI is really funny because sometimes I consult ChatGPT for the funny questions, and sometimes I really get surprised how biased I am. Like from the society. Now when the weather is so warm, I remember once my daughter asked me why we can't walk around naked in the cities. And then I started with all the cultural concepts and society and how it's inappropriate and blah, blah. And then the ChatGPT told me, oh, it's because we would get burned.
Oh, nice.
Like,
I see.
Sure. So,
okay.
I don't necessarily believe in this work-life balance notion because my work is part of my life and I enjoy it. What I do is I also show my kids around. I bring them to the office just to show them where I work, where I spend most of my days. And they understand that I enjoy myself, that it's not, okay, I'm here to make money. And then I'm really trying to focus on them when I'm around them. So that would be the key.
What would be your suggestions for those kids, for your kids, for the kids around the world? What do you think will be the key thing to learn for the future? Because they will be living in a completely different world than us. Well, not completely, hopefully, but, with all of this is happening, what we just discussed, with the directions we don't know it's going to be, what would be the thing you would suggest for the parents to look out? Just will add one thing. In the past, it was, teach your kid programming. They need to, like, as you are teaching them, like languages, they need to teach them programming. Right now, the CEO and NVIDIA said, okay, don't teach the kids programming. It's useless. Like they won't use it. They will be using prompting because the programming will be already happening behind.
Which is funny enough because everybody went studying on Matfis because they wanted to avoid the communications in the natural language.
Yeah, exactly.
And now natural language is the key to programming.
Exactly. So what would you say?
I would say, well, I want to teach my kids how to fail. I think we didn't have much time for failure. And it really makes you weak if you don't, like, I want them to fail and feel safe because they may be switching jobs many, many, many times. And fail, swim, and be empathetic.
Amazing. So that was Kate Lesch. Thank you for being here, Kate. And I think it was amazing. And looking forward to the next episode.
Thanks for having me.